In this podcast episode, neuroscientist Andrew Huberman, renowned for his work on neural regeneration, neuroplasticity, and brain states, explores a broad spectrum of themes centered around brain plasticity, faith, prayer, and how our inner mindsets influence our ability to grow and change throughout life. Huberman opens with a compelling observation about the human brain's capacity for change, underscoring that cynicism is one of the most dangerous mental barriers to neuroplasticity. According to him, cynicism operates on the belief that nothing can truly change or improve, locking the brain into rigid patterns, much like cement sealing off possibilities for growth. This fixed mindset stifles learning and adaptation, making it harder for individuals to evolve as they move through different phases of life. Contrastingly, curiosity emerges as the crucial antidote to cynicism and the gateway to brain plasticity. Curiosity entails a genuine openness to new experiences and ideas, coupled with a willingness to engage in the often challenging work of learning, even when errors are made. Andrew notes that great intellectual minds throughout history remained thirsting for knowledge into old age because they nurtured this curiosity, fueling lifelong neuroplasticity. He stresses that embracing curiosity is not about blind optimism, but rather about staying open to possibilities, refraining from prematurely closing off our thoughts and beliefs. Delving into the neuroscience behind learning and brain change, Huberman highlights recent research demonstrating a fascinating role of dopamine, not merely as a pleasure chemical, but as a critical motivator released in response to making errors during learning. This dopaminergic wake-up call activates the brain's capacity to change, suggesting that struggles and mistakes are integral signals that growth is occurring rather than failures. He emphasizes that neuroplasticity persists across the entire lifespan, even though it may become more effortful as one ages. Learning is not confined to childhood or young adulthood, but is an ongoing developmental arc. The brain's capacity to self-direct change means anyone at any age can cultivate new skills, habits, and perspectives if they engage in focused, effortful practice. To facilitate this, Andrew shares practical protocols involving brief, self-guided voice memos or activations he personally uses, short mental exercises designed to clear mental clutter, cultivate focus, and promote efficient reflection at the end of the day. He underscores that the act of reflecting later on what was learned, especially recognizing errors, is crucial for locking in those neural changes and preventing forgetting. A particularly profound section of the discussion centers around the intersection of neuroscience, faith, and prayer. Huberman candidly shares his own journey, revealing that only about a year and a half ago did he develop a consistent practice of prayer, which has brought him a profound sense of peace. He clarifies that simply holding a belief in a higher power or God is not sufficient to secure the measurable health benefits associated with faith-based practices. Rather, it is the regular enactment of these beliefs through active practices, prayer, meditation, communal engagement, that produces positive effects on brain and body health. He references scientific work by Dr. David Deno and others, which reveals tangible improvements linked to faith-based activities, such as reduced cardiovascular and cerebrovascular disease risk, enhanced recovery from addiction and grief, and better mental health outcomes. While social connections often associated with faith groups contribute to well-being, the neurological benefits of prayer and meditation itself can be isolated and are significant. Huberman explains that prayer, for him, is a form of communication with a non-human entity, which helps lighten the emotional burden by entrusting some struggles to a higher power. This act allows for clearer emotional understanding and decision-making, demonstrating how faith can aid in psychological regulation even in highly reasoned and scientifically minded individuals. Huberman offers a sobering reflection on the limitations of the human brain. Despite its remarkable sophistication and adaptability, the brain is context-dependent and constrained by personal perception boxes or priors shaped by individual experiences and histories. This makes it challenging for humans, even collectively, to fully solve complex social and existential problems on their own. In his discussion with consciousness researcher Christoph Koch, Huberman notes two opposing mindsets commonly held: a live and let live stance that emphasizes tolerance, and a stance of moral judgment that often produces conflict. Until humanity can consistently extend empathy and escape these restrictive frames of thinking, progress on large-scale problems is unlikely. Hence, Huberman suggests, external guidance through faith or spiritual frameworks may serve as essential tools for navigating this complexity, as opposed to relying solely on fallible human cognition. Throughout the conversation, Huberman integrates numerous neuroscience-backed behaviors that support brain health and plasticity. He advocates morning sunlight exposure to boost cortisol levels appropriately, essential for alertness and circadian regulation, and long exhale breathing techniques to calm the nervous system. Both have physiological effects mediated via the vagus nerve, which serves as a key bidirectional communication channel between body and brain, modulating stress responses and emotional states. He explains that flow states of intense focus require the engagement of no-go neural pathways that suppress distracting thoughts. Achieving and maintaining focus involves repeatedly redirecting attention, demanding considerable mental effort. Recognizing this helps set more realistic expectations about productivity and learning. Moreover, Huberman dispels myths perpetuated by high-performance cultures that glorify sleeplessness, citing research affirming sleep's critical role in consolidating neuroplastic changes and learning. Addressing emotions, Huberman underscores their vital role in health and plasticity. The capacity to feel and regulate emotions, whether through crying or other physiological releases, is essential. Blocking emotions can impair health by disrupting signals conveyed through the vagus nerve, leading to cascading effects on mood and bodily systems. At the same time, unregulated emotional outbursts directed at others are not beneficial. The key lies in controlled expression, acknowledging and timing emotional release thoughtfully. He also touches on emerging therapeutic approaches combining neuroscience and empathogenic compounds like MDMA, though still under regulatory scrutiny, which may assist people in processing emotions and trauma effectively within safe clinical environments. Huberman reminds listeners that development is not a stage, but a continuous process throughout life. The myelination of neural pathways, critical for efficient brain function, continues even into middle age, underlining the ongoing nature of brain plasticity. He speaks to the humility required to accept that we do not have all the answers, encouraging an attitude of openness and continual learning, much like that of children. This mindset, paired with faith-based practices that offer peace and external support, forms a potent combination for mental, physical, and spiritual well-being.